It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
All right. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas. You know what time it is. It's time for the Shoe Shine Monday nights where friends from around the country, from around the world, get together to talk about the sweet science, the sport of boxing that we all love. Joining me as always, my East Coast counterpart, all the way from the city of brotherly love, Mr. Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa, homie?
What up?
Yeah, man. Thank you for joining me. Hey, we got a call already, so let me try to get my boy on here. Let's see if this is gonna work out. Please work out. Yo. Can you hear me, homie?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Fantastic. Joining me on the Shoe Shine podcast, Francisco Esparza, all the way from Las Vegas. Recently, I want to get your story out there again to everyone who's new on my show. But you're a recently retired professional boxer who worked for Golden Boy Promotions. You fought for Golden Boy. You fought for Top Rank as recently as 2 years ago, man. I saw you put the beat down on an Irish kid from the East Coast. No offense to my co-host, Mr. Philly Irish over here. But we did share your story.
Yeah.
We were on the phone recently, like months back, to talk about your story of why you had to retire. And I've been thinking about you for a long time about what comes next for a young fighter who has to step away from the sport of boxing. What comes after boxing? Specifically, if you don't mind sharing your story once again, Francisco.
Yeah, man. Like you said, I was like, I believe I'm the only one born and raised in Las Vegas to have been signed to Golden Boy Promotions, and I had fought for them for most of my career. Retired at 1-1. Last year in August, so basically like a year ago exactly, I had to retire. My last fight was with Top Rank, and I just barely recently, it took me a year to like try to figure myself out, try to figure out again who I am. It's like hard from when you basically you dedicated your whole life to something for 15 years, and then in like just a split second, like you got to find yourself again. You got to start over. And so I recently, my manager who I was with, Hector Fernandez de Cordova, he had a fighter in Mexico her name's Alma Ibarra. She was fighting for the WBO or WBA title eliminator. And he told me she wanted to come out and train in Vegas, and she didn't have a coach. She only spoke Spanish. She comes from Mexico. And he's like, so already the amount of coaches kind of, it shrunk a little bit, and he just told me, do you want to take it? So I said, let's do it, So I called one of my coaches that I believe that I learned from the most, and that's Brandon Woods. And I told him, hey, like I'm not a coach, like do you really trust me with, she's fighting for a title eliminator, I've been a fighter, so I know what it is to be in there, but I've never been on the other side. And he's like, no, I trust you. I know your knowledge with boxing. I know I every time I talk to you about boxing, I know you know what you're talking about, and I trust you. I was like, okay. So I called, my old coach, and he told me, yeah, like I'll help you out. And he just been helping me articulate a little bit differently what I want to get across to her. And so it was a good fight, man. We just fought on Friday, and we got the victory, man. Thank God.
Yeah, and for people who haven't seen Alma Ibarra fight, she fought on Ring City, USA. So that was the first time I got to check her out. She fought against Marisela Cornejo, who's well known, and she surprised me in that fight because Marisela Cornejo is a very experienced fighter. Your fighter, you weren't training her just then, right, for the Ring City card. But here you came on the team on Friday for this Ludabella card at the Indian Casino in California, right? And everyone's buzzing about it.
Yeah, at the Cyclone Casino thing.
Yeah, let me get this because I think I got this this Dan Canobio thing, and there you are, there right there.
Oh
Now the audio
yeah,
might
yeah,
not
man.
come out, but that's Dan Canovio and Alma Ibarra, who is from Monterrey, Mexico, right?
Yes, yes, correct.
And
Yep, and that's my manager right there too,
yeah, and that's you in the
translating.
ring.
Yeah,
The there's a tape out there that I had seen because people might not know that you were trained at one point by Ferros Fernando Vargas, legendary
right.
Las Vegas. Fernando Vargas, of course, who fought Oscar De La Hoya. That was your trainer at one point, and I remember the fight that had seen a fight. I think you fought in L.A. where he was so excited he put you up on his shoulders, and
Okay, yeah, yeah.
you remember that
At the
fight
forum, at the forum.
at the forum now. But you definitely, I can see the excitement in you. I'm not gonna guess that you were gonna put her on your shoulders, but yeah, man, I can see the excitement in your team. You found your role, and it's like dramatic fashion because how what kind of trainer can dream about having their fighter having the opportunity to fight for a title unification? I mean, doesn't Jessica Mcaskill have all the belts in her
Right.
division
Yep.
of female
Yep.
boxing?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct, man. So definitely it was a big step up to get in right away, with somebody. But out with Alma Ibarra, man, she's just honestly a really, really hardworking fighter, just in general. Like I mean, I've known a lot of fighters in my career, and just I've trained with a lot of different people, and she, she's definitely put herself out there just because the how hard she trains. Like, she didn't care if she was sparring with guys, if she was sparring with females. However many rounds I told her to do, she was gonna do it. Whatever I told her, however many miles I told her, she was gonna do it. Like, even if she didn't want to anymore, and she was just like, tired and hungry and thirsty, she would push herself, man, and I love that in a fighter, and definitely she deserves to be where she's at. She's, very quick learner as well. She's very coachable. Like anything that I would tell her, like that I was like little strategies and stuff that we're like practicing. I would see her like trying it on the bag. I would see her trying it in shadow boxing. Like I didn't even have to tell her, and she was like just doing it.
Francisco,
And
my,
definitely,
my boy, Philly Irish Drew Evil, he can't hear you, so I know he's probably got a lot of questions to ask you, and I want him to be able to ask him through me because we're having some audio difficulties. But he was very familiar with Breakhouse and McCaskill when they fought each other, and now that's going to be the future opponent you're training for. So, Drew, do you have any questions or comments for Francisco? Because I know you saw a lot of tape on Jessica McCaskill.
So you guys haven't ruled out maybe Katlyn Taylor if you can't get the McCaskill fight?
So he wants to know if, I mean, obviously there's always issues with putting fights together, but if this fight doesn't pan out for whatever reason, is Katlyn Taylor on her hit list?
yeah, man. I mean, definitely, honestly, any fight that we get, I mean, we're honestly we're trying to get McCaskill. We're the number one contenders, but if that's who's next, then we're just gonna be ready for whoever, and especially for like even this fight, um, you know, we fought against Candy White, but honestly, we were just working on like I had a 6 week camp with her, right? So I'm not gonna change a complete fighter in 6 weeks. Like that's just impossible. She's not gonna fully be a different fighter. So I had to take the bad habits that she did and try to make her do it less and take the good stuff that she does and be able to make it better, a little bit better, and get her to do little things here and there. But it's not like I can do a whole lot. um and honestly, I was just trying to get her ready. I was just trying to make a better Alma Ibarra. Like we can train for a special fighter, but especially nowadays with COVID and everything, like you
Mm-hmm.
never know when the fight gets switched up. So, I just want her to be ready for whoever they put in front of us.
Most definitely. My boy A-Rod 83 Boxeo from Al Chile Podcast is in the chat. We're talking with my boy Francisco Esparza, who just took on the coaching role for Alma Ibarra from Monterrey, Mexico, who is now the mandatory for Jessica Mcaskill, who potentially your fighter could have all 4 belts. Do you guys see the possibility of fighting her before the end of the year?
If, yeah, if it's possible. if it's possible, definitely we'll take it. I know right now she just got home, so she's gonna take like a couple weeks off, and then we'll be right back in the gym. Hopefully in a month we'll be back in. I know because she lives out there in Monterrey. She has her son over there. So we're trying to see if we can bring them both over, and that way she's not too far away from him. And as soon as we can get her back, we'll be ready for anything. Hopefully, I know that's the plan to try to do it before the end of the year, but we'll see, man.
Yeah, you mentioned her son. So I just wanted to mention, so people who don't know her backstory, because I would love to interview her, have her, or even any of my colleagues' podcasts. I got a fantastic group of friends that have an all women's boxing podcast that she would be perfect for. She'd be a great guest on my show and any of these shows. But she's a mother of a special needs child, right? So
Right, that's correct.
it's very difficult for her to get away from her child in training. Did that impact her a bit?
Um, I feel like yes, yes, but in a good way,
In a good
because it
way.
just made her that much hungrier. It made her that much
Hmm.
hungrier to get this victory, and that's what I would just tell her. When she was feeling upset some days, if she was crying, she would get emotional. Like outside of training, just like hanging out, and like every time she would speak to him, she gets emotional because she missed him. Um, and it's just like somebody's gonna have to pay for this. Like just stay training hard, and it's gonna be all worth it at the end of the day. You'll maybe for this camp we weren't able to bring him, but maybe for the next one, and if not getting all the world titles, then we'll definitely be able to bring him after that. Then we'll be in the A side, and you will definitely be able to bring him along. So I mean, it's just making her that much stronger.
Yeah. Another thing, Drew, hang on tight, Drew. I know if anything you want to bring up, just holler at me, wave your hand. But I read that she was kidnapped in Mexico.
Yeah.
Maybe at one point she was actually kidnapped for ransom. So she's got some harrowing tales, things that she's had to persevere that have made her a stronger person, things that maybe Jessica Mcaskill just has no idea. So you see these as
Right.
all positives. Now, one thing people love, man, in the boxing community, all these people that watch the podcast, is the beefs between camps. And I heard that there was a little bit of beef between, was it her promoter or her manager, the manager of Jessica Mcaskill, was maybe talking shit, Rick Ramos Boxing. Is there anything you could say
Um.
about that?
Uh. Man, I mean, there's yeah, it was with their manager, but man, she just started. I think it was like over like social media or something that's where it started or something, and then. But I mean, all I can say is that we're keeping all that in mind, and like you said, man, everything that when she got kidnapped and everything, like she could talk all this shit she wants, but like things like that happen in real life, like outside, like she
Yeah,
was like scared for her life,
for
and
sure.
it just made her that much stronger, to come back, and I could see her in the way she trains. So, Jessica just got to be ready, because
Yeah,
we're
Drew.
coming ready.
Drew, you got something to say?
So like the fight with McCaskill and everything, like if you watch the two fights with Breakers, she in the middle of the fight started to gas out a little bit. Have you guys, is the main one of the main strategies is to go after her more, or to keep keep it at bay and close for the time being till she starts to gas out, and then that's when you go at her rest of the race, even your stop is everything, because McCaskill has a history of gassing out in the middle of the fight within like rounds 5 to 6.
Right, right. Um, I mean, we definitely keeping it in mind. That she would gas out, but every fight is different. Every fighter comes in different. Like I never came in the same that I came in from my last fight. And Alma came in a different fighter from her last fight with Mariciela, and so we just have to be ready for to go the distance, or if we can get you know a stoppage, that'd be great. But we're ready for anything. If she could be, we want McCaskill to come in 100%. That way You know, in our mind, we're training for her to come in 100%, that she's not gonna gas out or anything, just because you never know. Every fight is a different fight.
Yeah, I'm curious. What promotional outfit you think might put this show on?
Um, I don't know. That's a good question though, because I think she's with the Zone, right? She's with like Eddie Hearns, or I'm not sure if that's
Jessica Mcaskill.
um
I'm unclear too, but I mean, there is a lot of interest now in women's boxing. You know, it's like you're on the right team right now. You're in position for a world title shot, potentially being the first Mexican woman to hold 4 titles at once. It would be historic,
yeah,
absolutely
yeah, man.
historic.
You know, that's the plan, man, and that's what we're training for. That's what we're getting ready for. Like you said, women's boxing is coming up quick, and it's getting up there. So I'm definitely excited. You know, if she's a fighter, you know, at the end of the day, she's a fighter. Don't matter if she's a woman, if she's a man, you know, whatever race they are. You know, like, you know, she's a fighter at the end of the day, you know, and for just like honestly with any fighter, if they show that they want this and they're hungry, you know, I'm definitely gonna work with anybody that I can help and give knowledge to.
Yeah. So, man, this is fantastic news. I imagine that you came back to Las Vegas Saturday, which was, of course, everyone was buzzing about Manny Pacquiao potentially his last fight. Did you get back in town for that fight?
I actually stayed in San Diego, but I stayed at a friend's house over there, and we put the fight on, so I did watch it, man. You know, I'm definitely happy for Ugas. I've known him for like a long time. I've actually sparred him once, and I mean he's a big guy, so I mean I knew he was tough to hit. He has a good defense. You know, he keeps his hands up all the time, and covers his head really good. Man, you know, it was a tough fight. You know, it's kind of heartbreaking at the same time though, because you know, man, it's Manny Pacquiao. You know, like I was hoping to get like a standing ovation for him at the end, at least. You know, like how they do in WWE, just everybody screaming out. You know, thank you, Manny.
Yeah,
That's-
and my boy Drew, chime in on that because Las Vegas was holding 2 events, major events at once. You had the WWE nearly selling out the Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium, and then you had Manny Pacquiao at T-Mobile. Which one of these
Well,
was the best event, Drew? You saw
I'll tell
both
you
of
the
them.
truth. Here's the thing: when it comes to the card and everything, you're gonna agree like the undercard wasn't good for the Pacquiao Ugas fight. We can all agree on that because the co-main event was 2 guys that come out of retirement that are like no one really cares about really anymore. Robert Guerrero and Victor Ortiz and everything.
I have to disagree,
So
Drew. San Jose,
like here's the
Gilroy.
thing.
Gilroy's like
Here's the
next
thing.
door to me, man. Of course,
If
I'm
you
gonna
want, if
support
you
the
want
guys
to
next to me.
if you want to look at it like this, Robert Guerrero went out better than Victor Ortiz because Victor Ortiz, if to me, I think he makes all the Chicanos look bad because he crit on multiple occasions when other guys fought with a broken jaw, like Arthur Abraham fought with a
Oscar
broken jaw,
Valdez.
and come on, he he had a
Yeah,
he had a, he had a guy that came up from 2 weight classes down, break his jaw, and he crits in the corner at the end of the day. So at the end of to me, this is a fight between 2 guys that are likely not going to be a threat to win a title in one at 147. All 3 of us can agree on that. I hope, but at,
yeah, I
I kind of
agree.
was digging the wrestling more. I
I
watched the
see.
Ugas fight and the Pacquiao fight while I was watching the
See,
wrestling, but I just thought the undercard wasn't good enough to support this fight, even though it was on 11-day notice that the fight changed and everything. We can all agree that Manny Pacquiao dodged a bullet for being possibly brutally knocked out by Earl Spence at the end of the day, because I thought he was going to get stopped by Earl Spence, and like if he would have fought like this against Earl Spence and because his legs were going in the middle of that fight. His legs were not there in the middle of that fight for some reason. And Bobby due to inactivity. He's a 43-year-old guy that hasn't been in the ring in over 2 years and everything. That's going to take a toll out of you. Took a toll out of Bernard Hopkins. He's been in the same situation and at 52, and then went in there against a Joe Smith in his prime, and look what happened to him.
I like how you brought up Bernard Hopkins. Let's give Nopal Boxianos in the chat says Drew is hating. let's give Francisco a shot here because you've sparred Ugas.
Right. I see. I agreed first. First of all, I agreed with that it didn't. At first, it didn't sound so like good the undercards, but man, if you watched it, bro, like all the undercards were pretty good, man. They were entertaining. Like I honestly, it was more entertaining than I thought it was gonna be.
You know what?
Honest.
I think I agree with you, Francisco. That overwhelmingly the sentiment on social media was that these fights were actually pretty entertaining, and that the Victor Ortiz is well past his prime. Yes, he's quit on multiple occasions. That's what he was known for. Then he went Hollywood, and Robert the Ghost Guerrero. All his recent performances have been lackluster. But as a guy who lives in San Jose and Gilroy being right next door and his dad an old school OG Cholo who still drives lowriders on Sundays, I can always relate to Robert the Ghost Guerrero. And for me, if that was his last fight, what you mentioned right now, Francisco, that you would have liked to have given Manny Pacquiao a standing ovation with a historic win at the age of, I think at least from me being a guy from the South Bay in California, that I really hope that that's Robert the Ghost's last fight, because I don't think that they compete in the welterweight division against any of the guys in the top five. I see you shaking your head. And right. Honestly, what we worry most about is that there is going to be an injury or damage that is irreversible or something. There's always danger involved, right? I don't want to see any of these guys. Drew mentioned that he thought Pacquiao was on the verge of being, well, I'm mentioning it, that I thought Pacquiao was on the verge of being knocked out by Ugas' right hand. What'd you think about that right hand that kept landing by Ugas, Francisco?
Man, it was. See, a lot of them didn't even really land. I feel like when he threw that overhand right hand, I feel like Pacquiao blocked majority of them, but Ugas was just like too strong, and Pacquiao was too much out of his prime. That every time he would even catch that right hand, it would kind of like throw him off balance, So it made it look worse than what it was. But definitely Ugas was catching him with a lot of the counters. Everybody who knows Pacquiao, they even asked Pacquiao. They asked him, why do you have such a hard time with Juan Manuel Marquez? And he said, because he's a counterpuncher, and that's like his kryptonite in a sense. And Ugas was just countering the whole time, and he was just quick about it.
Yeah, he did look good at all his countering. Drew, do you think his trainer did a great job? Salas, the Cuban trainer, did a good job with the game plan?
Yeah, like here's the thing. This was a fight that you had a guy, Pacquiao. He was guaranteed he was going to throw a lot of punches and everything. And Ugas, the Cuban style is not about throwing a lot of punches. It's about throwing the most accurate, logically accurate punches you can throw. It's a defensive style when it comes to boxing. But to me, when I was looking, Pacquiao's throwing all these punches and everything. Now a lot of them are landing, and Ugas is landing landing the better punches, and is landing more accurately than Pacquiao. And I'm like this. For some reason, I think they're going to give this fight to Pacquiao. And someone was asking me, really? I'm like, yeah. This is a fight where normally people would say, Pacquiao fans would be like, oh, he was a more busier fighter. He threw 400 more punches than Ugas and everything. But here's the thing. This time around, you can say that if the other guy wasn't landing, but this guy was. You can't lose a fight, in my opinion, if you landing 60% of your power punches and you outlanding the dude in power punches. There's no way you can lose a fight. It doesn't matter how many more punches the guy's thrown. Majority of them are blocked or missing, and you're hitting. And every time you're throwing punches, you're landing most of the time. So people, if they really paid attention to how this fight was scored and really pay attention to this fight, they will really see, hey, Manny Pacquiao's punches, a lot of his punches were not landing. And landing 130 out of 810 punches, and Ugas landed 20 to 25 more punches than Pacquiao, and only threw 405 punches, and like 110 of them were actually power punches, and that's 60% of his power punches he thrown. I scored the fight 8-4 for Ugas. I really thought Ugas defensively controlled the fight. He was way more accurate than Pacquiao was, and for somebody and somebody I could understand. I know somebody's gonna say, "Oh, Pacquiao should have won the fight because he was more busy," but that's the only argument you're gonna have. And if you still gotta land punches, it doesn't matter if you're throwing 800 punches. You still gotta land punches, and he didn't land punches. His legs were going in the middle of the fight. Inactivity really did Pacquiao in on this fight. He should have, I don't know what he was doing in his 2.5 years, but it was just too much time to stay out of the ring at his age.
He's trying to run for president.
That's what he was doing.
His career, I think he needs to retire, and it's a good thing he didn't fight Errol Spence, because I really thought he probably could have got knocked out
brutally. I want to ask Francisco his score real quick in just a second, and also about the leg overtraining issue, because you were a professional fighter, a professional boxer. I want to ask you about that, but we got a caller that it says here that he thinks Manny Pacquiao should have one more fight. It's a casual caller, meaning he doesn't watch boxing every weekend. You know, Manny Pacquiao brings out the casual boxing fans, so why not take this call from this, let's see, who's here, 951. You're on the Shoe Shine. You say Manny Pacquiao should fight who?
Hey, you know what? Ugas, he took control of the game. Like, he had longer arms.
Okay, he had reach, right?
Ugas. Yeah, reach, man, and he gave Pacquiao was washed up, bro.
He's washed
Touchdown.
up. All right, and you say that you think he should fight who?
What's the Jaguar game? I'm sorry.
Sir, we're not talking football.
No, Ugas. Yeah, but Ugas, he was a good fight. It was a good fight, man, and I mean, I guess for free, but who cares? But
right.
He was a great fighter, but you know, Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao should fight De La Hoya again.
There we go. All right, thank you for that. Thank you. And what's your name again? Remind everybody. You're one of my favorite callers.
It's Johnny Savage, Atlanta. What's up, guys? What's up,
Johnny? Have you been drinking? Have you been drinking? Because this sounds like your voice, like the speech is just
no. It's
Ugas.
It's Ugas, bro. Ugas.
All right, and you say he should fight Oscar De La Hoya, and you think he's going to do better this time around, Oscar De La Hoya?
I mean, Oscar De La Hoya is training. He's training bad. He's training fucking. I've been watching De La Hoya train. He got it, bro. He got it.
Oh, man.
The golden boy.
That's a great point, man. I appreciate you calling, man, every time, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, Drew. Your Eagles suck, bro. Like my Jaguars.
Lay off the Bills, Johnny.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk more football later on in the football season, because I know my boy Francisco's got to be excited that the Raiders started preseason and the stadium is up and they're letting fans out. But we're talking boxing right now. I was going to ask you about the score, but man, you had a relationship with Oscar De La Hoya. You fought with him, and now Oscar's going to be returning to the ring. And is Manny Pacquiao ready to enter the exhibition fighting scene?
Oh man, I mean, he's an active fighter still, so I mean, I think that's like totally different, you know. It's De La Hoya has been retired for years, you know what I mean? So it's definitely different. I don't think Pacquiao is ready or he shouldn't be part of the exhibition because he's still an active fighter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as far as De La Hoya coming back and stuff, I know he's been trying to say he wants to call out all the big names and stuff. Supposedly, he wants a big fight. He wants Canelo. I think he needs to stay away from Canelo.
I think everybody agrees he should stay away from that.
Don't even mention his name. Just stay in your lane. You know what I mean? He can fight other retired fighters. He can fight, you know. But I mean, I don't know. You can fight all the UFC fighters, I guess. Even this guy that he's fighting, the guy's huge, but if you really look at him, like when they hit the mids, when you compare him and what's his name, Bellator, I think his name is, against De La Hoya, like when they hit the mids, even you can see like completely see the difference in between them two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that begs the
so
question. It begs the question. It's Monday, all right, and this is the question that all the boxing writers are talking about: is whether or not we're ready to say Manny Pacquiao should call it quits, or should we let him decide when he's ready? I'll go with Drew first. Do you think it's time for Manny to hang up the gloves?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, he has a way like, I don't care what anybody says, he has a way better resume than Mayweather. He's fought more guys in their prime than Mayweather. Like, this is the guy that he's been compared to the most in his career when it comes to the big fighters. Is all hearing about is him, Mayweather. So, like, end of the day, you actually lost to a good fighter, but you lost to a guy that was actually not top. You could put him maybe top 3, maybe top 5 at most. But to tell you the truth, the welterweights haven't really been the same in years. And like, this isn't a really stacked division as it always used to be.
Is it stacked, but they just don't want to fight each other? Like, there's some
I
great
think it's
talent
stacked.
there. There's some great talent.
Yeah, I think it's stacked. Yeah, we got Crawford, we got Errol Spence, even Sean Porter against any of them is like a good fight. You know, Keith Thurman against any of them is a good fight.
And Ugas.
We got Virgil Ortiz coming up, Ugas. You know, it's definitely a stacked card or a stacked division.
Yeah,
just mix and match all of them.
You mentioned some of the younger stars in the brewing, like Virgil Ortiz. I'm high on Virgil Ortiz, Connor Ben, even this youngster I've been talking to, Jesus Ramos from PBC, who just moved up to welterweight and will be fighting on September the 5th. These are all future stars. Maybe the division isn't so much weak, Drew. It's getting these fights to be made. So where do we go? Where does Ugas go from here? Now he's the regular WBA champ. Does he give Manny? He's offered Manny Pacquiao a rematch. Does anybody here think Manny should take it?
I think Manny should retire, man.
Like,
I think he should retire.
To be honest, if you think that, hey, is Manny? It can't wait a year later. This fight can't be a year later, though. Manny Pacquiao has to get right back in the gym and train, get himself acclimated again. Because if he takes another year off from boxing, this is probably going to be the same result as this fight and everything. Like, that's the thing. You're not 29. You're not 35 anymore. You're 43 years old now. Your body, like, is not what it used to be. And for you to come back and train like you normally do, it's going to take a lot more out of you. And I think the training took a lot more out of Pacquiao, because he constantly was moving fast and everything, because Pacquiao's speed. He relies on his speed and everything. Like, maybe it's time, if he becomes more smarter with his speed and make a pace now, since he's older now, like, change up a little bit. Try to change up and, like, slow down, know when to slow down a little bit and be smart fighting on defensively. But that's not the Manny Pacquiao that we're accustomed to. This is a guy that's going to constantly be offensive. And tell you the truth, he's just not that type of fighter anymore that can be like that for 12 rounds and stay on that type of pace. He's got to be smart now on how he fights now.
And I think he realized that after this fight, you know, that he can't be that, because even against Keith Thurman, you know, like he was still that trying to be that same Manny Pacquiao, and I think he realized that after this fight. But realistically, like, I love Manny Pacquiao, and he did great things. That's why I wish they just gave him like a standing ovation right there. I feel like he wants to go out with the win.
Sure.
But a good solid win, you know. He's not gonna want to fight somebody like just anybody. He's gonna want somebody with a decent name at least, to go out winning. But I think honestly, he was a great fighter. He did what he did for the sport. His names are in the history books for
Mm-hmm.
sure. He's running for president. I think he should just go be president of the Philippines, and do great things for his country. He was an amazing fighter. Now it's time to take on a new role and do real great things for his country. And I believe he could be a great president over there. You know, so I mean, best of luck to Manny Pacquiao and anything he does. But I think personally, man, as much as it hurts, he should retire.
Well, I think the whole panel then agrees. I am in agreement. I have no problem with Manny Pacquiao. Not necessarily using the term calling it quits because he's had such an illustrious Hall of Fame career, a living legend, 20 plus years in Las Vegas, putting together some of the biggest events. But you said he has a lot of pride. So even if he did come back for that one fight, that he's thinking about it, it can't be against some lame opponent because he's got too much pride. But I do want to say this. If I see Manny Pacquiao fight again, he deserves to fight in his home country, something I haven't seen him do in the past 10 years. He deserves a fight in Manila with his people, and that would be a brilliant way to launch his presidential run. And it doesn't even, in my books, it wouldn't even have to be against a top tier guy, but just a way to say goodbye to the sport of boxing. But it's up to Pacquiao what he wants to do. Nopal Baxiano was trolling us, saying Pacquiao should go into exhibitions versus LeBron. I know he's trolling there, but there are basketball players fighting. We will be seeing Lamar back in the ring on the same card as Paulie Malignaggi. Did you know that, Francisco, that Paulie Malignaggi is going to be doing a celeb boxing?
I had heard something like that, but I didn't hear the full confirmation on it. But man, that's crazy.
He'll be fighting on the same card as Lamar. I know some people might think it's a step back, but there was a guy who smashed a pie in his face at the last. Paulie got a gig commentating.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
The guy smashed the pie, so he earned himself a fight with Paulie Malignaggi as the co-main event of a Lamar Odom fight. And Lamar will be fighting, I think, I don't know which heavyweight legend, but like a 50 or 60.
I know.
Who is it?
Riddick Bowe.
Yeah, Riddick Bowe. People upset one way or another that he shouldn't be sanctioned. Shouldn't be a sanctioned fight. I don't think it will be. It's exhibition boxing, but yeah, Paulie Malignaggi will be making his way back to the ring, and of course, that leads me to the end of the show, which is that I was hoping there'd be some great boxing, but there's a Showtime pay-per-view this Sunday, and it stars a YouTube celebrity that's now on his third pro fight, and I know you dedicated your life to the sport of boxing, Francisco, and now you find yourself in a role. If you missed the beginning of the show, guys, my boy here, Francisco Esparza from Las Vegas, is now one of the head trainers for Alma Ibarra, who will be fighting Jessica Mcaskill at some point for all of Jessica McCaskill's titles. YouTube celebrities turned boxers. Francisco, do you have an opinion on that? They're trying to stack the card at the last minute. There are some good names underneath that.
I mean, they're making money. I feel like though it should be its own, like maybe like its own sport in a sense. Like if they're gonna have YouTube boxing or like YouTube versus TikTok, YouTube whatever, I don't know what they want to do, but like I feel like it'd be better if they just put like the whole card is like YouTubers or like celebrities and stuff. You know what I mean? And like or maybe them underneath a big card, but like don't put like some good fighters underneath of them, as their undercard, because I feel like we've risked our lives. We're doing this for a living. We've dedicated our whole lives to this, and then here comes like YouTubers that don't even know how to fight, but they got a lot of clout, and it puts them up there. I mean, unless they want to put me against Jake Paul, man, I'm down to take that any day.
I didn't see you on Jake Paul's hit list. I know we got to be really famous, but apparently there was that hit list, and Canelo's on that top 10 list of people that Jake Paul would like to fight. None of us here.
Stay away from him.
None of us here.
Don't even use his name. Like, but he stay out of it.
He put Gervonta Davis too, which I really laughed at that one, man. Gervonta Davis.
Oh my God, man, these guys are just looking for clout, and it's working. It's working for them. So whatever. That's how they're making their money. But it's just so crazy how it's like I don't know. They're making boxing into something different. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying. They brought a couple of different, maybe a different audience to the sport, but still feel like maybe they should keep that separate from real fighters,
Yeah,
especially the top fighters.
I wanted to wrap up the show quick because I know I don't want to capitalize on your time, Francisco. But there was an issue that Manny Pacquiao said afterwards. To some people, it sounded like making excuses, but it was the issue of overtraining. And for a long time, people know. Even my wife said, "Oh, Manny Pacquiao's calf muscles—they're huge." So he's going to say something about his calves. Is it possible entirely that he overtrained, or is it just father time? And he mentioned overtraining, over sparring. And this is something you're going to have experience with training for fights that me and Drew have no idea about, man. Do you think it's possible he overtrained?
Man, listen, at his age, I think it's possible at his age, but I think they gotta find that bound. It was because it was the layoff that he had for like 2 years, and I know that's why they wanted to get more sparring in. But at his age, man, it's like really dangerous. I feel like a lot of people don't see a lot of the sparring wars that go on in the gym. And I mean, you spar people that are heavier than you, people that are lighter than you. People that you're just sometimes they get the best of you, sometimes you get the best of them. So I feel like there's a lot more damage that is done in the ring than the actual fight sometimes, or in the sparring, than the actual fights. But I mean, man, I don't know. At his age, he's got to find that fine line where it's not overtraining and not too little, I guess, or not too much.
Go ahead, Drew.
Look, here's the thing. When you at your age of 40, over 40, I think the least you should worry about is sparring. Main thing is conditioning and everything. Like, hey, you do sparring and everything, but I think the main focus at his age should have been conditioning and pace of his condition because of the type of fighter he is and everything. He's a fast-paced fighter, and the main focus should be conditioning. And I thought the conditioning played a big part in why he lost the fight. And I really think that a lot of guys that are like over 35 that are still fighting, I think their main focus is conditioning, so they don't, box themselves out early enough or just tire themselves out in the middle of a fight. They're accustomed to being guys that are accustomed to going to the distance, not real knockout punches. Like Manny Pacquiao, last time he knocked somebody out was Batista, and that was like almost 5 years ago. And before that, he hasn't knocked a guy out in almost 7 years before that. So, like, your power goes the older you get, unless you're a heavyweight, because you're gonna have power regardless, unless you're Kevin Kingpin Johnson and everything. But at the end of the day, when you're like on the downside or almost 40, your main focus is to use your experience, strategy, not worry about knocking a guy out anymore, doing enough to get a clear-cut decision over this guy. And that's what a lot of these old fighters do more now when they're at that age, close to 40.
I agree, man. I definitely agree with that. I know he was trying to work on conditioning though, because I know Casemiro's coach, Jorge Capetillo, and they went out there with Pacquiao for the last couple weeks, and he was saying that they were running like 7 to 9 miles like every day. So he was definitely putting in work, but maybe it was just father time, and maybe it was too much sparring. Like you said, it shouldn't be worried too much about sparring and just using what they already know, using their his wisdom, using his just his experience and big fights like that. But he fought against a tough, young, hungry fighter who had everything to gain and nothing to lose. So it just happened that way.
There's one more thing on this Ugas fight that's been bothering me for the past couple of days, And that was this bicep injury that was circulating on social media, man. A lot of people lost money on this fight. When we talk about Las Vegas, you can't separate sportsbook betting and all the money that's placed on bets. Francisco, did you see all the pictures and the videos that were released where Ugas looked like he had the famous bicep tear, an injury that is horrific, that requires surgery, that requires a lot of rehabilitation? It looked really bad in the photos, and because of that, a lot of money was going towards Pacquiao. People were saying Pacquiao's going to knock him out. None of that turned out to be true, or at least I haven't heard any confirmation that he really did have a bicep tear. So what was up with all those pictures?
I saw that, man. To be honest, I saw all of that, and man, I wish I had an answer, but I really don't. I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to you guys. I might stop by the gym, this week, and I'll go talk to Salah, see if I can get some info from him about that, because I honestly want to know about it too. It looked pretty bad, like you said. It looked pretty bad. I kind of got scared for it too, and I mean, I could see why he would, like, even if I had a bicep tear, man, you got a chance to fight Manny Pacquiao, you're fighting Manny Pacquiao. If they approve you, if the commission approves you, like, regardless, the doctors approve you to still fight, man, I take the fights too, still, and he won. So, but I don't know what happened there. Why did it look like that? Definitely didn't look normal. But I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to go investigate with Salas.
Yeah, if you hear anything you want to give us a ring back, man, I'm dying to know, because he definitely didn't fight like there was an injury there. We got A-Rod83 Boxeo in the chat saying it was an implant gone wrong. If anybody has implants, maybe Manny Pacquiao has implants in his calves, man. Have you ever seen guys who go and have surgery because they're ashamed that they have skinny chicken legs?
Well, I look at it like this: I haven't seen none of the main sites, like boxing news sites, mention the tricep. All I really see is other YouTubers or people on social media mention the tricep injury the whole time. Like, everybody else in the mainstream wasn't really paying it any mind. So it could be something that YouTubers and other people were trying to. Hey,
no, it reminds me that I made the thumbnail of our last video with the injury, the bicep injury, and called it Manny's fighting an injured Ugas. So I'm part of the problem. I'm not ashamed of that, man. All right, guys, I'm having such a good time. I got to ask you, because you're a Las Vegas native, Francisco, and one of the biggest fights that I thought was not going to be made, and I usually love. In fact, I met you on Mexican Independence Day, which to Mexican Americans and Mexicans is one of the biggest for over 20 years. Cinco de Mayo, Mexican Independence Day, is the day to be in Las Vegas, to see some boxing, to see some comedy, to see some of the world's best Mexican singers. I mean, shoot, I think the weekend I met you, I saw Canelo. I met you. I ran into you. I saw you at the Felipe Esparza comedy show. And then I think I even squeezed in a Alejandro Fernandez mariachi concert all on the same weekend. But it didn't happen. We're not having that in Las Vegas. We're going to have some fights the week before, the week after. And now Canelo Plant has resurfaced. Plant makes Las Vegas his home. Are we going to get this fight for reals in November?
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like everything's signed in concrete. So it sounds like it's going to be for November. It would have been nice in September, but I think that was just out of everybody's hands at that point. I think that was Al Heyman's problem right there. Caleb Plant wanted it. Canelo wanted it. I think Al Heyman was just demanding a little bit too much for Canelo anyways, and Canelo was kind of demanding a little too much as well. So I don't know. That was between them, but it sounds like they got it fixed up. It sounds like it was concrete. I think I heard that it was for sure going down. So I mean, it's a good fight. We'll just have to see, what happens in the fight. I think Canelo wins. Think he could even stop. He could even stop Caleb Plant. And I know Caleb Plant. I've seen him around here at the gyms. I've seen him training. I spoke to him a couple times. He's a real good person. I just think he doesn't have the pop to keep Canelo out. I think Canelo's too smart. I think Canelo uses good footwork, good feints, and he just hits too damn hard, man. I think Caleb Plant's gonna feel the power, and I thought Saunders had a better shot than Caleb Plant, but we'll see.
Now, speaking of Canelo and his team, Drew, this one is for you, but I don't know that if you had noticed that Conor McGregor is asking to join Team Canelo and is asking to be trained. Are you aware of the situation? And do you think Conor McGregor has a chance? I mean, he just broke his leg, like snapped his ankle in half, and here he is. He'd like to be part of Team Canelo.
Yes, I heard this already, and he also hit me up and asked me to endorse it because I'm very good with the Chicanos, and I told him you gotta fund me a bottle of Proper 12 and a couple $1,000,000, and then I'll talk to them, and a bottle of Craver also.
Yeah. Francisco, if you get a chance to ever speak with Canelo, can you tell him to please put out his own tequila already, man? Because it's not, to me, the fact that Conor has his own, Proper 12 whiskey, and here Canelo, I can't go to the store and buy a Canelo tequila. I don't understand why he doesn't have one. I'll never get to talk to him, but
I'm hearing that Canelo is putting out I think it was, I don't remember, it was like a water or energy drink or something like that. I think it might have been water or something, like something like that.
There's no
But
shame
he's gonna
in
have
water.
a drink, a sports drink.
Listen,
yeah, I think it's like a sports drink or something.
50 cents. 50 cents came up with vitamin water and sold it for like $50 million. He went from 50 cents to $50 million or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure whatever he comes up with will turn into gold for him. But the dates for that November fight for Canelo versus Plant, there's nothing that's been put out there. But I know that as someone who's excited to see Allegiant Stadium for myself in person, man, you think that's going to be the first fight that boxing gets at Allegiant, or will it not work out this time? Because it feels like Canelo's on the verge of filling that stadium up in Las Vegas.
I mean, I hope so, man. I want to go out there and see some fights, man, right there. I would have loved to go. I've been wanting to go see it too, man. If I wasn't still out there in California, I might have gone to SummerSlam this past weekend too. But it is what it is. Hopefully, I get to go to the Canelo fight, man. That'd be dope. We'll see how much the tickets are too, though. So we'll see.
For sure, man. All right, I'm gonna wrap up the show, guys. Appreciate having Francisco Esparza. Follow him at team_alacran on Instagram. And remember, if you haven't seen his fighter, because now he's one of the head trainers for Alma Ibarra from Mexico, go check out her Ring City fight. Go watch her, because she's going to get a chance to fight Jessica Mcaskill. Looks like she could be the first Mexican woman to be undisputed. Undisputed, and that's something the guys love to talk about. Undisputed. Make sure you go check that out. And hopefully, I don't care if it's my friend's podcast or whatever, man. We want to talk to Alma and hear her story, especially as this fight comes to fruition. And if she wants to come on this, all the ladies, my friend In the Ring from Christine, who is Team USA Boxing, she would love to have her on the show, talk with all the ladies. Drew, final words?
Definitely.
Yeah, we want her on the shoe shine.
We want her on the shoe shine.
Way. And number two, Joe, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, man. I don't need to be on Team Canelo. I'm on my own team, and my team's the best, by the way. Let's keep that. But here's at the end of the day, Manny Pacquiao had a great career. If he decides to stop, hang up the gloves, he had an awesome career. So you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And guys, follow me on Instagram at Drew.
Yeah, I didn't give you a chance, Francisco, to say your parting words, man, or your final thoughts on what went down. You had a very exciting weekend.
Yeah, man, definitely. I just want to say thank you guys for bringing me on here, man. This was my first fight with her, my first fight as a coach. But I'm still learning, I'm still coming up, and we're just keep a lookout, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have some good fighters, man. I'm gonna make some savages for sure.
Oh, for sure, man. I'm really happy that your story's come full way. You're transitioning from a professional fighter, and now you're on the verge of being a trainer to a future world champion. Really exciting stuff. And of course, the minute I get out to Vegas, I'm gonna holler at you. Maybe we can catch up and go out to eat some food, some fine Vegas food. Guys, this is Dave from the 408. Shoe Shine Podcast. It was a great show tonight. If you're wondering if Manny Pacquiao should retire, I say let the man decide for himself. If he wants to go through it one more time, let him fight in the Philippines. But if he's ready to hang them up, there's no shame. The guy gave us, 4 decades of fights. He's been fighting over 4 decades. So he's done more than enough, more than most people will ever achieve in the sport of boxing. So he has no shame in retirement and whatever he wants to do. I'm Dave from the 408 to Shoe Shine. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. Peace.